Do you want your foundation to look as natural and skin-like as possible and to never look cakey? If so, today's video is for you. I'm showing you just that no matter what type of liquid foundation you're wearing, whether it's the most full coverage, bulletproof, quick setting foundation out there, implementing these key tips into your everyday foundation routine will make a big impact on how your foundation applies, blends out, and sits on your face. I incorporate them into my own foundation routine, no matter what type of foundation I'm wearing, even if it's a skin tint or a tinted moisturizer. I'm actually wearing one of the quickest setting, fullest coverage foundations I own. It's the one I'm demonstrating with in today's video. I hope this video helps you in some way. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My channel is all about everyday beauty made easy. So if you're not subscribed and you enjoy this video after watching it today and enjoy everyday beauty made easy, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and be back with us on a regular basis. Okay, so let's get into how to apply foundation and have it look as natural as possible every time you wear it. Foundation won't apply, blend out, sit as well on the skin, or wear as well throughout the day if you don't take the time to exfoliate the dead skin cells off the surface of your skin. It's especially important the older we get as our skin cell turnover slows down. A lot of people skip this step. Even people that have really great daily skincare routines often don't take the time to exfoliate 2 to 3 times a week. As much as I wanted to streamline this video and have it be all about the foundation application and the makeup, this can't be skipped over because so many people wonder why their foundation doesn't look quite right, and this could be a big reason why. Incorporating a chemical exfoliant like a BHA or AHA product, or a manual scrub, or one that is a combination. I'll list some of my favorites here for you, as well as in my description box and in my top comment if you're looking for some suggestions, but it's very important to do that 2 to 3 times a week, in addition to your daily skin prep that's important before you apply your makeup. And on that note, no matter what your skincare routine is, whatever that last step is, if it was moisturizer, if you're doing something at night, or if it was SPF during the day, make sure you give it a few minutes, 10 minutes at least, before you apply that first makeup product to your face. That's just a helpful tip. You have less chance of your makeup slipping and sliding all around if your skincare is nice and absorbed. Some days I use primer, some days I don't. It kind of just depends on my mood. If you are someone who enjoys using a primer, no matter what type of primer it is, if you're using it on all areas of your face, make sure you don't use more than a pea-size amount, which is not very much at all. I oftentimes see people using way too much, which can actually do more harm than good. I make that sound so serious, but it can actually make your foundation slip and not wear as well throughout the day if you use too much product. You want to use as little amount of product as possible to get the job done, and usually that's about a pea-size amount for the whole face. If you're using it localized to certain areas, you want to use even less. I'm not demonstrating with primer in today's video, but I did just want to give you that quick note about primer before I got started, since you would obviously use primer as the first step of your makeup. I'm applying my foundation today with a damp sponge, not my fingers, not a brush. I'll share why that is after I show you how I get it to the right level of dampness, because that can make a big difference with how your foundation applies, how much foundation gets soaked up by the sponge versus your face. So what you want to do is get your dry sponge as wet as you can possibly get it until it's completely drenched, and then you want to squeeze it out and then squeeze it out some more thoroughly, which is where most people stop. But you want to do this again in a towel to get that extra wetness out of the sponge. That's the sweet spot. Your sponge is fully expanded, it's nice and soft and squishy, and barely damp. And it's this level that doesn't soak up too much product, and it really allows you to customize the coverage. I use this method no matter what type of foundations I'm applying because it's quick, it's easy, it works for anything. Even if I'm using a skin tint or a tinted moisturizer or a thicker CC cream like this one, it really helps it look super natural and not look or feel as thick, or a full coverage quick setting foundation, no matter what I am using. Today I'm working with one of my favorite full coverage foundations that sets quickly, so you really have to work fast with it. Estee Lauder Double Wear. I'm in the shade 2W1 Dawn if you want to see any of my foundation shade matches, or concealers for that matter. If you think you're my foundation or concealer shade match match twin. I'm light, medium, neutral, leaning warm. I keep running match lists over on my blog. It's linked with all the products I'm sharing today down in my description box and in my top pinned comment. You can check that out at any time. First things first, you want to be sure no matter what foundation you're working with, you want to shake it up because you never know if the contents have settled, and that can be the first thing that can make the biggest difference in how a foundation applies and wears and sits on your face. I'm dispensing the foundation onto the back of my hand. You could also use a palette if you're more comfortable with that, which is different from the common method of dotting foundation all over our face and then blending it out. The reason why we don't want to do that is because sometimes when you start blending out those dots in a section of your face, they can start to set and stick down in other areas, which can really affect the blending and how the foundation ends up looking, and that doesn't happen with this method. You want to tap the sponge very lightly into that product and get just a very small amount so that we can work section by section on our face in very light layers. This is particularly great for foundations that set quickly so that you can work one section, it can set down, and then you can move on to another. You'll see as we move forward. Using pouncing motions, we're just gonna blend this into one section of the face. I personally don't take foundation directly underneath my eye into my under eye area. That's a personal choice, but my under eyes are dry. Foundation dries and sets down. Definitely don't need that underneath my eyes. But you can see how nicely, quickly, and easily this is covering using those pouncing motions, especially when you look at one side to the other. Now you can customize your sections how you want to. I usually work on one side of my face first, then move down to my chin, blending those two sections together. Then I move to the other side of my face, blending that into my chin. Then I move to my nose, blending that into the two sides, and then I move to my forehead. The reason why I like to use a barely dampened sponge is because I can use that pouncing motion. It presses the foundation, the skin tint, whatever I'm using, into my skin, into my pores, and evens and smooths everything beautifully so that it meshes with my skin, as opposed to a foundation brush with bristles that can sometimes emphasize dry flakes, dead skin cells that we talked about earlier, or can leave streaks that I then have to go press out with a sponge. Now, if there is one foundation brush that I do enjoy using that doesn't give me those issues, it's the BK Beauty 101 brush. This is really nice. It's soft. I do sometimes use this, but a sponge has always been my preferred method. I'm not a fingers girl. It takes longer and builds up coverage way more quickly than the look that I'm going for. Applying your foundation section by section in thin layers allows your foundation to stay as liquidy as possible as you apply it, and allows you to customize your foundation as naturally as possible. I have usually more redness on this side of my face. It allows me to go in with a little bit more over there, but still keep it natural. Once that initial thin layer is applied, you can assess and see where, if any, you need more coverage. And if you want to layer in certain areas, you certainly can. Oftentimes, I spot conceal with the foundation that's left over on my hand. I only needed about 3/4, maybe even 2/3 of a pump for my entire face using this method. I can guarantee you that if I had dotted foundation all over my face, I would have used more foundation than that unnecessarily, which is what results in a less natural, cakier look. I wanted you to see what the foundation looked like in front of a window after I added concealer under my eyes, but before I proceeded with the rest of my makeup. I think everything looks nice and natural, especially for such a full coverage foundation. When people tell me they have trouble with this foundation or any other thick or heavy type of foundation, this too, I hear this about its CC cream. In my head, I'm always thinking it doesn't have to be that way. There are ways, there is a way to have your foundation look nice and natural and skin-like and to not look cakey. I don't know what it is. There's something about foundations and concealers and face products that I love sharing, whether it's tips or tricks or products. I live in such a challenging climate here in New Orleans. It's hot, it's humid, it's beyond hot and humid. So when I master techniques or find really great products, I just love sharing them with you. And these are tips that I use in my everyday life. They really, really work for me. I know we didn't talk about setting powder, things that I do that really help things last while still looking natural. If you're interested in a video for that, let me know. I know it's been been a while since my last top foundation video. The first new one is coming soon because a lot of my favorites have been discontinued. So there are new lists coming. It's taken me a little while because I wanted to get some new footage for you. So if you're not subscribed, be sure and hit that subscribe button if you want to see some top foundations in various categories that work well for various skin types. I hope you found this helpful and beneficial in some way. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Thank you as always for being here with me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.